I'm going to go 1-1. Haaland won't score. That's my big prediction.
Going 1-1 after that big speech about Rashford ending careers. You're going 1-1.
We keep the unbeaten record. Unbeaten record. One of your centre-back, Akanji and Ake will be your starting centre-backs after this derby because the rest of them ain't going to be happy. John Stone's already running scared, feigning injury and all that nonsense, running scared from the derby. So we'll leave him to one side. But if Rashford starts 1-1, no goal for Haaland. And we show the rest of the Premier League how to, stop the Norwegian beast.
You think about Haaland, he could have a quiet game, 3 touches in the whole match, none inside your box, but he could score a hat-trick in the last 4 minutes of a game. That's not even being hyperbolic, that's 110% straight facts. It truthfully is. But Man United are going to beat Manchester City this weekend.
Who the hell is marking him? Oh my god.
God, it's 1-0 Man City. Phil Foden scoring that twat. That young Mancunian twat. Oh my god, this game is done.
It's a massacre. It's a bloody massacre.
Oh my god, why am I watching this?
Phil Foden!
To worse, guys, he's completed his hat-trick. Erling Haaland with the final killer blow to Manchester United to fucking completely do us over, guys.
But Man United are going to beat Manchester City this weekend.
For all of those that say we don't meme ourselves, you are all in the mud. 8 Mile, your mother asses with that one there. You got to be done. But yeah, we're in the mud, Man United fans, including myself. But there we go. Welcome back to the Top 6 show. Smash the like buttons. Hit the subscribe buttons as well. Turn on the bell notifications. Brilliant panel tonight as we review both derbies over the course of the weekend. And we will be revealing which one had the most global audience to put to bed, which one is bigger. I have the figures. Who got the most views? That shows which is the biggest. We're going to talk about that. Chelsea signing Christopher Nkunku. It is all but done. A look back at the weekend game with 3 more goals conceded in the Van Dijk and Trent defence at Liverpool. The last-minute winner from Gallagher, and looking ahead at the Champions League and Europa nights this week. But I want to say hello to my panel first and foremost. David's on his way. He's running a little bit late since he started working. He actually works for a Formula One team, so he's very, very busy at the minute, David. He's on his way. But Patrick is here. The tears have dried up. He hasn't even got his Spurs shirt on today. The Spurs shirt's been. He's got the hat on. He's got the hat on.
Still repping. Just about hanging on in there. Just about.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just like your preview last week. The Spurs cap. That's all I can see, bro. Simple as that. Kaz is here. Now, Kaz looks a bit like me today. Depleted, upset, annoyed, frustrated, and all that jazz. We've got man like Jerry in the house, repping Liverpool today. He's probably slightly brighter mood after Man United got an absolute pamming, but of course, more points dropped for Liverpool. And Jessica Black is here. She's been doing crazy memes online, dancing like my 62-year-old white uncle at weddings. But Jesse's here with us after celebrating massively. Happy as pig in the proverbial. How's everyone doing? We all good? We all good?
Yeah, so. 50-50, phone a friend. I don't know. I'll let them answer. I don't know.
I'm in the same boat as you, Patrick, man. I'm just...
It's a lot. It's a lot. Well, at least you didn't lose. We lost to our fucking fiercest, worst. That's the worst game to lose to, or the worst team to lose to. And yeah, man. And especially, you know what? Yeah, I don't know where to start. But all I can say is that I'm not talking no more smack about any other team's players. Let them have their crap days after they play us. Because every time I talk about a player being crap, they go and score a worldie against us.
Humbled.
Yeah. So yeah, it's
humbling. I mean,
it's a bit mad.
I mean, Neek's in the comments. Neek, we were going to stop Haaland. Haaland got the most amount of goal contributions in a Manchester derby in the history of Manchester derbies. It was a terrible day. A terrible day indeed. And viewers, remember, you control what we start off by talking by. We have the polls out there, and the first talking point actually is the Manchester derby. 58% of the live vote has gone on to the Manchester derby. So I want to go to you first, Kaz, as a United fan. what was your take, bro? What was your take on the day?
Look, they had us in the first half, but as far as I'm concerned, we won in the second, so it is what it is. We decided to play when I wanna say something right now as well. Yeah, that what's her name, Leanne Sanderson. If you ever watches this, you are a deluded bastard. Let me tell you that for a fact.
Wow.
Right? You trying to come out against Martial. Done the same thing about Pogba. Now you want to do it against Martial. Something is a bit in common there, and you think Ronaldo's gonna come on and change the game more than Martial, and then he comes on and scores 2 goals. Didn't even delete the tweet. So on that note, I hate her. You can hate me as much as you want if you ever come across this video. It is what it is. Imagine thinking that Ronaldo's gonna come on and do anything in that game, either, because he's not. He's not even gonna get the ball. Wouldn't have won the penalty. Not that it matters. We lost anyways. But that's the first thing you think about. Like, Terry, honestly, that's the first thing you think about is you're going to bring on Mars. The first tweet you do is about Martial than about the team. Whatever.
I mean, I kind of got a bit confused by the whole Ronaldo talk, him being left on the bench yesterday. It was too big a deflection away from what actually happened on the football pitch. And the biggest video Sky put out were... so the biggest videos that Sky put out were about Ronaldo not coming on and Ten Hag saying he did it to protect him. And I'm just sort of sitting there thinking, why are we ignoring the fact that the team didn't run? The team didn't play well. Like, it was annoying. I'm kind of like, I get it's a talking point, but it wasn't the biggest talking point of the day. So I do understand that. In terms of Man United's performance, Kaz, though, like, what went wrong yesterday in your eyes? Looking back now, the day after.
All right.
Go on.
We're going to take a leaf out of Tottenham fans' books and start blaming referees in it. But
chill.
Anyways, no, I think I hate Michael Oliver with a passion as a referee in it. He's probably a nice person and everything in real life, but he just looks like that sort of person that their lunch money got taken when he's at school. But other than that, when he gave Dalot that yellow card, that changed everything for me straight away. I'm thinking, wow, he's booked him in that minute and a half. And I'm thinking, now this guy's going to have to be scared of Grealish, the guy that wins fouls for fun, and he's going to have to tackle him. He went in hard hitting, and Michael Oliver made it about him from the very start. But after that, I'm going to say it nice, loud and clear. We were shit anyways, regardless. Like, I think when Sancho, we have to talk a little bit about Sancho. That was probably his worst performance in the Manchester United shirt yet to date. He could have put in Rashford and it was a 2v1 situation against Ake. He could have changed the game just from that situation, but he tried to go around Akanji instead and he flopped and he scored from it. Phil Foden arrives. Well, fair enough. Arrived, then he arrived again, then he arrived again. They kept arriving. This is pain, man. Why am I on here today?
No, yeah, Sancho didn't have a good match. Like, Jerry, from your point of view, obviously, I assume you watched the game yesterday. Was it a case, and this is a question I've been kind of mulling over myself all day today, were City just too good, or were Man United poor?
I think it's a bit of both. You look at United, obviously they're still just getting to grips with what Ten Hag wants. You can see there's going to be kind of like a jittery process. So they'll do well for a couple games, then they're going to falter again, and then it will pick back up again. And I think that's how it's going to be for the majority of the season. However, the ease and the quality of the goals was just sublime. Like, I've got to give my hats off to City. I mean, the ball that De Bruyne played for that Haaland stretch goal was just like, we all spoke about it, innit? When Haaland came to City, we said, once De Bruyne, do you know what I mean, links up with Haaland, it's going to be a problem. We saw it, and it is a bit scary because I don't know how, unless you spend big, how do you combat what City are doing at the moment? And I'm talking from even a Liverpool perspective. How do you compete with what they've got going on, especially, do you know what I mean, the quality of signing and the shrewdness of what, and do you know what I mean, the astuteness in the transfer market? I think it's just, yeah, they're a problem. They're a problem. And I think they just, the emotional side of a derby, obviously, I think the United kind of, obviously, players, I think a lot of them got a bit kind of overwhelmed with the situation, and then the result was as it was. But I mean, look, as Kaz said, I know it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but the fact that you're able to still score 3 goals shows that Ten Hag might have saw something in that game and altered something tactically that enabled you to kind of get some goals on the pitch, and it wasn't a 6-0 or even a 5 or 4-0, which I think would have been a bit more embarrassing in my opinion, even though the performance was
Foden happened, man. Foden and Haaland are scary. They're both 22. They link up extremely well. He's on course having his best season. Daps called it. Big up Daps for Foden at the start of the season. That guy there's not just fact they had 2 hat tricks in the game as well. But oh my god. Anyways, it hurts. But other than that, Foden, what Pep did, abandon Malacia, forget about it. Foden, you're the extra man. Go terrorize it. That's exactly what they did in between lines, everywhere. Foden was everywhere. If anything, Foden was the best player on that pitch.
It was interesting though with what Ten Hag called out, because he spoke about the team not working hard enough, not running hard enough, sitting too deep at times, and we did it ironically, there were so many parallels with how we play compared to Spurs at the weekend, and I know we're going to move on to them, but we were too deep. We gave them too much space. We were not aggressive as we were against Arsenal or against Liverpool. Now, of course, we're playing the best team in the league. City at their best beat everybody in the Premier League. There's no doubt about it. So this is the hardest test possible. But I've seen City this season play Newcastle. I've seen them play Villa. I've seen them play Palace. And they weren't this good. And you could argue that they've come into form at the right time. But I do feel there was a big part of the game yesterday, which was us bottling it, us not having the courage to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Players were panicking on the ball. And I'm not taking anything away from City. What they did in the attack was brilliant. But they weren't able to beat easier teams than Man United this easily. So I have to look at my team and go, we made some real big fundamental mistakes. And there is the argument that in the second half, they let off us and allowed us back into the game. I think it was more the pressure was off Man United and suddenly there was a bit of freedom. Anthony was trying to run at people, which he strangely doesn't want to do. I don't understand how you can have that much skill. You were famed in the Eredivisie for beating people, and right now in the Prem, and I know he's up against Cancelo, so you can argue that's why, but he ain't done it he hasn't done it in Europa League games against Sheriff. He doesn't want to dribble at anyone. I don't know whether that's a tactic, whether he's feeling a bit vulnerable. It's just frustrating. We have it with Sancho so regularly as well. Like, he won't dribble at anybody. He won't beat a man. You beat that fullback. We've seen what happens to Liverpool. Every time you beat Trent, you got a chance of scoring. And that isn't a dig. It's just the truth. And you think we've got skillful wingers and they don't want to attack anyone. They want to take it to play the easy ball backwards. It just frustrates me. Or they play the ball into danger. But I'm trying not to take anything away from City. They are phenomenal. There is absolutely no doubt about it. And everything I ever thought Haaland was going to be, he is. And probably a little bit more. 5 goal contributions in a Manchester derby and a hat-trick. Of course, Phil Foden is absolutely sublime as well. There's 17 goals this season in 11 games for Haaland. I think the difference he's making, we didn't see peak Ronaldo and peak Messi in the Prem. Messi's never been here. Ronaldo was here before and after his peak. I think when you have players like that, you're almost impossible to catch. You're talking like Haaland scoring at his age, scoring at the rate he is. We've never seen this before. Well, we have once, R9. So it hasn't happened for nearly 30. And that was nearly 30 years ago that R9 was like scoring at this rate. So most people, like young people on socials talking about this, weren't born. Some people that are on social now talking, their parents were kids when that was going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is legit, like, scary watching him play. And yeah, he absolutely destroyed Man United yesterday, along with his teammates. But I feel like he's just given them something else, and you can feel it. He's become, in 11 games, he is now the star of Man City. He's the star. He's bigger than all of them, better than all of them.
7 goals away from top scorer last season already.
It's crazy. He's 40. I think he's 19 more to break Mo Salah's record, and he's gonna do that. My prediction, I said he'd do it in 30 games, and I got laughed at like I was talking shit. And I've just said all along with Haaland, I think he's gonna have a Messi, Ronaldo-esque career in terms of his goal scoring levels. I think he's gonna do it. I think he's gonna be a 650, 700 to maybe even 800 goals in his career player. It's astronomical. And the only good thing that happened this weekend is that your father did an interview and said that he might go in 2.5 years. That's the hope, that he leaves in 3 years' time and goes to Madrid, because at least then he isn't going to kill your team twice a year in the Prem, at least. Do you know what I mean? It would just be if you manage to come across them in the Champions League. But Man United have had no problem with that. Like, we have no issues with that one at all. I want to ask you a question, Patty. Do you feel like Ronaldo was disrespected yesterday? There was a lot of talk about Ronaldo being disrespected, not bringing him off the bench. Like, it's already been kind of touched on by Kaz. Do you think that was disrespectful?
Not really. I don't. They need to. I don't know. I need to word this carefully because Ronaldo is my GOAT and I love the guy, but it's not all about Ronaldo anymore, man. The team needs to move on, and not every time Ronaldo's playing or not playing, it's just all about him. Man United were beaten, convincingly, and I don't know why we're still talking about Ronaldo. I understand. I mean, Ronaldo coming on, what difference would he have made? Like Kaz was saying, I don't think Martial came on and made a difference straight away. I don't think Ronaldo would have had that impact. So different players suit different games. I just think, I mean, if Ten Hag starts him in the next game and starts him in the Premier League game after that, then cool. If he basically doesn't get any minutes, no matter who you're playing, then we can maybe look at a disrespect. But that game was done and dusted. I don't really see Ronaldo coming on or not. What's the difference? The game was done. So, Martial came on and he looked good. He made a difference. And you can take some, I know obviously you got beaten convincingly and it was a spanking in the end, but there are still some positives to take out of that game. I think the goal scored, the first goal was wonderful and came out of nothing. And then Martial causing problems. Obviously the penalty, the way he dispatched that was brilliant. I don't know. Ronaldo, in a sense, even though I hate to say this, I wish, and this is just talking from being a Ronaldo fan, I wish you guys would have got rid of him just so that you guys can move on as a team and there's no more Ronaldo talk. Because all we're going to hear this season is, Ronaldo's playing. It's Ronaldo's fault you're not scoring. Ronaldo's not playing. He needs to be played. Like, it's just all about Ronaldo and the team's bigger than that. And if you don't want to move on, you kind of got to phase him out, and he should have been phased out in the summer. I believe Ten Hag didn't want him, and you're seeing that now. But with or without Ronaldo, you would have lost that game anyway. I hate to say it. It's just the reality.
Facts.
Yeah,
I feel like Martial was the only positive of that thing.
Yeah.
It's the hold up. Already from just hold up. Like, see that back four there was definitely. If Martial, I know he wouldn't have started that game, but see Rashford, when you play him up front, you know exactly what he's going to do. He's running in behind. That's what you got to look for. With Haaland, you got to think about that game. He's dropping deep, running in behind. Don't know where he is, what flank he's on. You've got a few things to think about with Haaland. Martial, there's a couple things to think about. But Rashford is one dimensional. With Kanji Ake, Pep knew what he was doing there. He knew exactly where it was. Just keep up with him pace, and the game will be all right. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, you've also got to play the right ball to anyone running through on goal. I mean, that's what you've got to do. If you're going to play Rashford, that's what Rashford's good at, running off the shoulder. So you've got to play the right ball. But when Sancho, and it wasn't just Sancho, it was also, look, Sancho got stick. Bruno always gets sticky if he gives the ball away, but Eriksen was just as bad. McTominay was awful. It was every single member of that who was involved in the attack. Sometimes they're just hitting hopeless long balls into channels. Even if Rashford gets to it, what's he going to do? Take on 3 City players and score? How often has that happened to City in the last 5 years where anyone has done that to them? Even when they've played against Mbappe, how often have they been dribble past, like 3 or 4 player dribble past, and then someone scores? It was crazy. There's some super chats here I want to go to. First ones we'll come back to it. Gunnar Ryan, we'll come back to it when we're talking Arsenal, so it's relevant. Haaland's form is Liverpool's fans' fault. You mocked him for that miss in the Charity Shield and compared him to that bum Nunes. This ain't even his final form. It is crazy because when he missed that sitter in that competition, people were like, see, the Premier League's going to be different. Oh, how we were actually, that was on the day of the Football Terrace meetup, and we were watching it in the pub, and there were people literally saying, see, I think you'll miss a lot of chances here. And just to think that was what, 2 months ago? It's crazy. Felt like the passing of the baton with R9 on the bench and Haaland scoring a hat-trick. Well, I wish he was passing the baton to my team. Haven't felt this way about a player since peak Messi and CR7. Do you feel like Haaland has that kind of hype around him, Jess? As in the way people are starting to feel about him now and the universal praise, the excitement everybody has, the headlines?
Yeah, I do. I think that it's building. He already had a lot of fans. So a lot of people were watching and waiting for him to make a move from Dortmund. And so that's kind of snowballed to Man City. But I feel like obviously Haaland is going to break so many records, and we'll see how many he breaks in the Premier League. But I feel like what'll happen with Haaland is he'll reach that tip top CR7, Messi status when inevitably he moves to a Real Madrid or a Barcelona. I feel like when you make moves to those teams, that's when people really start putting you at the tip top. And that's no shade to Manchester City, but we all know that Manchester City doesn't have the same appeal and legacy as those teams. So it'll build. Like Haaland is going to make such a big name here, like in the Premier League. But once he inevitably moves to one of those teams, if he stays fit, he's going to be one of the greats. And I can't wait for him to go already. We haven't even played him yet, and I can't wait for him to go. I'm like, where are you going and when are you going? 'Cause, it's scary.
I do look at it two ways with him. I don't want him playing against Man United because he'll destroy us. But I actually think it's important for these players to stay in the Premier League for all our clubs. It's like any economy and any business. If you own a restaurant, the best thing for your businesses is other restaurants, namely that do different foods, to open up next door to you, opposite you, create a hub. If you have the Haalands of this world in the Premier League, it is a more attractive league to other stars. If they start going to the La Ligas, that is where those players go. So as much as it's hard to think sometimes, when we celebrate superstars leaving our rivals, I get it, but it does damage the overall league. So there's almost this element of, it's like we've got all the best managers in the world here. I don't actually want them to leave and 3 of them end up going to La Liga, because they will also attract the best players to La Liga, and we want them here. Like, namely, I want them all at Man United, but I get the point. This stat is incredible for Haaland. For Haaland, it took Michael Owen 48 games to get 3 hat-tricks in the league. It took Haaland 8 games. The man's an alien. And this is what's the craziest stat is his first 3 home games that he's ever played for Man City are all hat tricks. I mean, it's just never been done. I can't find, I don't think there's a player in the history of the top 3 leagues, so the Serie A, Prem, La Liga, who has scored a hat trick in their first 3 league appearances at home. I don't think anyone's ever done it. It's astronomical. Eric Ten Hag is building this team slowly. Results like this will happen. It hurts, but Ten Hag is the man. Consistency will come. What's your take on that, Jess? Do you feel like there hasn't been a massive criticism of Ten Hag because he is new? They did score some goals in the second half. They've won some games. Do you feel like results like yesterday are inevitable in a rebuild process? I mean, your own team is now doing brilliant, but it was only a couple of years ago that you were still getting some really poor results. Is this just something Man United fans have got to accept, that even when there's good improvements and big improvements, you're going to get a number of bad days still along the way until you're fully formed as a squad and team under the identity of Ten Hag?
Yeah, of course. It's early days. Like, it's still, the beginning of Ten Hag, and he also needs to learn what to do in the Premier League. I also feel like there's like this, it's just about the players and he needs to bring in good players. He also needs to learn what's good and bad, what to do, what not to do in the Premier League. You know what I mean? So it's a learning process for everybody. I think the worst part about the result was the performance. And then that just sends a shockwave into like, okay, do we actually make any progress or not? And I think what Manchester United are moving towards is understanding who's actually here for the long term and who actually needs to be moved on. And players that don't show up for derbies are probably not players that you want to stay at your club, because it's still a derby at the end of the day. But you're definitely going to have these results. It's Manchester City. And for me, you watch the game and it was just very clear from the first half that they were scared. Manchester United players were scared, where they weren't scared of Liverpool, where they weren't scared of Arsenal. They were frightened of Manchester City. And that's fine because you know it, but you just know that there's levels to go up, because Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes, these are great players, but it takes time. And so, yeah, I think you just have to be really patient. And with Ten Hag, you can always criticize what he did. Like, obviously, maybe this was one game too far with Scott. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but he's going to learn on the job as well. And you just have to be patient. I just don't know. This is my thing the whole entire time was, will Manchester United fans be patient, or will they do the usual thing where they're like, okay, well, it has to be the manager? Because those players just didn't show up. Regardless of Ten Hag's tactics, those players just didn't show up. And I'm not sure that that's a management issue.
You're going, bro.
I was just going to say as well, what I like about what Ten Hag will do. I think what these players needed, and us fans as well. I never said we was going to win, but the fact that I even had hope that we was probably going to even draw, we all needed this humbling at the end of the day. I think everyone does, but we'll do this every single season. Because guess what? Even when we play City next, I'm still going to say the same thing. How about that? So it don't matter. It's the same thing with Arsenal Spurs fans. Arsenal fans when they go to Spurs, Arsenal fans going to come with chest. Same way Tottenham will, no matter if they get battered. It's the same process every single season. Obviously, when we go to Anfield, we're going to win as well, right, Jay? You know what I'm saying? So what I like about Brentford thing as well is he took that hurt and he used that energy and put that towards the next performance. And I think Ten Hag would definitely put these towards these players and then will listen. They got humbled a little bit. Yeah, you've had a decent run, but now we need to improve. Now stuff like bringing in Casemiro, Martial, be an easier job to bring them in. You can't moan about that now. You've had a pretty bad performance as a whole, as a team. I want to change a few things. Can't moan about it.
I kind of feel I agree with what you're saying there. I feel like this is the fans have got to have patience. There's a few things, but the manager has got to learn from his mistakes. Ollie kept on making the same mistakes time and time again and hoping that he would it would suddenly click. This is where you see how good a manager he is. Does he make that change? And if that change works, stick with it. You know, maybe it was one too many games with McTominay. I'm not going to moan it because I believe you have to pick on meritocracy. You have to create that environment. But you have that bad game, someone else now gets to step in. If Casemiro shines and keeps shining, he stays in that team, barring rotation. But there are so many other factors at the club that need to be taken into consideration. A big report came out today, and it got barely any kind of circulation. It got put out by all the aggregators, but no Man United fan really cares. And it tells me that Man United fans are still being indoctrinated and listening to the wrong voices in the Man United community. Because the article said that Ten Hag has told the club to ban all contract renewals until he decides whether they deserve and or good enough to stay at the club. And for me, this should be getting universal celebration. Those have been the decisions behind the scenes that have damaged the control that every manager post-Fergie has had over the squad. I want to get rid of him. No, then the player gets to stay, player power takes over. These like off the field issues are all, for me, are as important, if not more important right now than anything he's doing tactically, who he's picking, who he's subbing off, you know, what's he getting right and wrong, because that what happens off the pitch is what manifests itself on it. The best teams in the Prem, pound for pound right now, Man City, as an example, Arsenal, Brighton, you know, Brentford. When you look at these teams, they are run impeccably off the pitch, and it manifests itself on the pitch. Liverpool, as much as you're going through a bad period right now and everyone's bantering you, and you don't spend how you probably want to, you are still well run. You know, the way your operation actually works. It would just be better if we spent more money in that same operation. You actually don't need to like overhaul the club, but you just need to spend more money, like if that makes sense, to compete with the rest of the big boys. And you look what Todd Bowley's trying to do at Chelsea. They're trying to build something really special that is long lasting. And that's really key for me. But I do agree with you, Jess. I don't think Man United fans are going to have the patience. 2 or 3 more bad results like this, and all it takes is one key content creator to start talking about maybe the manager isn't right, and the fan, because it's an easier narrative to talk about. Some Man United fans will jump on that like a bitch in heat. And I am talking about female dogs here, which is so it's not cancelable, but they will jump on it. It'll be heat. They'll be like, yeah, I need it. I need my fix. I need that. I need that release of dopamine. Because there are some Man United fans that are struggling with losing like we did yesterday because they don't know who to put their anger towards. They're like, oh shit, who am I meant to be angry with? They're really confused. They're used to having a target they're allowed to go for, and at the moment, it's like if you go for the Glazers right now, everyone's like, oh, the Glazers didn't play the game though. If you go at the manager, give him time. You ever go at the players, it's like, well, they were picked by the manager. So they're all like, oh, who do I get angry with? Who do I rant about? And I'm just like, the club still. We lost the way we lost yesterday because of 10 years of being run terribly. And because we haven't got a team in the squad with a mentality to beat a tip-top Man City team. We just don't have it. And even when we've beaten them in years gone by, we've caught them early on the counter and scored a few goals and then hung on. We haven't actually dominated them off the pitch and outplayed them. We haven't outplayed City at football since LVG did it in 2014, 2015. It's a long time ago. That's the last time. That's the last time we outplayed City at football. It's a long time for me, and I think there's so much more to go with it.
A quick one, Terry. I wanted to ask on Casemiro. Do you guys think he was an Erik Ten Hag signing? Because that type of game is where I don't know. I just, on the face of it, would have just thrown a Casemiro in there because he's got the experience of playing in big games. It's a big game. Do you know what I mean? Like going with the lineup that you had in midfield and having obviously not only Ronaldo but Casemiro on the bench. Do you think that's an enough problem?
Yeah.
Do you think that was
No,
tactical?
I think it's a signing. He just could get me a destroyer. He's
I
had
mean,
a destroyer in every single team he's had with Ajax. The thing is, yeah, think of it like this: he's not dropping Eriksen or Bruno. That's certified. Now Scott McTominay's been playing well. Imagine this, and I hate to say it, and I think he's average, but he's been playing well. He played well internationally, even in the Premier League games. Where you're like, wait, this is McTominay. What the hell? And then imagine you just go and drop him. All of a sudden, I get McTominay, Casemiro's Casemiro. But at the end of the day, if you drop McTominay, what does that do to a player's like confidence?
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit mad like that.
It's good management from Ten Hag, but I think there was when Casemiro was being signed, I could have sworn I saw, there's so many aggregator accounts for Manchester United. It's insane. But I know I saw something where it was like this was a long-term Manchester United player that they had been watching for a long time. They didn't think they had an opportunity to get him, but now that they had the opportunity, they moved on it. So I think there is a sense for me like, oh, he needs to get acclimated. He needs to do this. Casemiro's been playing games for Brazil. He's been playing. So why can't he come back and play for Man United? I don't think he's a Ten Hag signing because you guys chased Frankie de Jong for so long.
Yeah, but if it's evident after that Brentford game though that he didn't need a controller, he needed a destroyer. He needs something like that because when it comes to imagine McTominay gets injured, who you put in there now?
Yeah,
but the thing is, if Eriksen gets injured, who can you put there? A number of different type of players.
Once the window closes, the manager is not really going to come out and say that the player that they bought is not the player that they needed. There's always a way to spin it and say, well, needed a destroyer. I needed this player instead. So I don't think it's a big deal, to be honest. Unless he doesn't start playing soon.
We was about to sign Rabiot, not Casemiro or Rabiot. If you're going to tell me about the signings and stuff like that, I'm taking Casemiro regardless if it's signing or not.
But that's not the point, though. Go ahead.
Yeah, I get it.
The reason why I'm asking is because, yeah, you needed a destroyer, but was Casemiro, was that just, do you know what I mean, a la Liverpool, do you know what I mean, in the season when we finished fourth, where it was just like, we didn't have a centre-back, and Klopp goes, I need a centre-back, and they bring in Kabak and Davies. Of course, Casemiro is not Kabak and Davies, but did they just get in a destroyer, or is that the player that Erik Ten Hag wanted? Because if it was, what you'd see is like, me personally, I think he goes and plays. He just goes and plays. We saw it with Martinez. Martinez just in the deep end straight away, you're playing. Whereas with Casemiro,
well, we had a pre-season. Well, actually, no, he didn't. Did he?
I think we're going to get our answers soon on this. And what I mean by that is, I think both arguments are absolutely fair. My conclusion is I haven't made my mind up yet. And I very rarely sit on the fence, but I am on this one because I get that with Nietzsche's point here, Malacia, Eriksen, and Anthony went in. But does Anthony go straight in if in them opening two games, Jadon Sancho and Rashford are cooking on the left and right? Does Malacia go straight in if Luke Shaw is in the form that he was in 2 seasons ago when he was one of the best left backs in the league? So that and when Casemiro came in, Eriksen and Scott had a very good game. But it's where I think Ten Hag's got it wrong is I understand McTominay was in good form, but there still comes a point where it's like, I think I'm playing Man City today. I've got to bring in one of the best midfielders.
McTominay only has so many good games.
Yeah,
he can only have so many good games.
I think he basically went. He gambled one too many times. It's like going to the casino, betting it all on red. I came in, betting red again. At some point, the ball's going to land in black, and that's what happened this weekend. It fell in the wrong side. But I've seen a lot of people. I think I saw Mark Goldbridge put out that he doesn't think it's a Casemiro signing. I don't know to what degree, and we have to be very careful here because Man United have had circumstances where the managers have been told it's Fred or no one. Is this the case of I don't mind Casemiro, but can we keep trying for Frankie de Jong first? But I'm happy to bring him in if I need to. There is a difference in that, but I think it's a great question, and we'll see soon because he's such a good player. To not see him really kick a ball yet for us it's kind of frustrating having him for a month. And I know we lost a few games because of the Queen, but yeah, I am starting. It's one of those things where I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated with it. I want to see him get some game time, no doubt. We've got some super chats here before we move on to the next subject. The first one says, I disagree, Terry. United fans know this will take time. Ten Hag picked the team based on merit, and I appreciate his growing pains. Kingsley, I hear that, but they've said that every time a new manager's come in. And how do I know? Because I've been sitting here doing these streams since 2013, and 100% I've seen that before. So I hope you're right, Kingsley. I really do, brother. Against City, Arsenal won the first half and were memed. Well, we won the second half and we've been memed. I'm only joking. There's a few nuances. Ten Hag's 8th game to Pep's 6th year. Rashford winning player of the month and Haaland not. Our team is under construction and City's isn't. And I think that's fair. But what you need to then see is a response. You need to see Man United winning the Europa League on Thursday and then bounce back this weekend in the Prem. It has to happen.
Against Everton.
Yeah.
Best defense in the league so far.
We're Man United. We have to bounce back. Paying Ronaldo 2 to 3 times as much as other players whilst not playing him is in hard games. That's one hell of a retirement plan, is what Sar's got to say. At this rate, Haaland will break the Premier League goals scored in a season in 21 games, along with 14 hat tricks for the season. Well, he won't do that. But part of me kind of wants to see if he does, because if he does that, I'm going to crown him the Premier League's GOAT now. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to, I'll make this statement. If he scores 14 hat tricks and breaks Salah's record in 21 games, he's the greatest striker the Premier League's ever had. And if goal scoring is the hardest skill in football, he's the Premier League GOAT. I'm just going to give him that crown. I'm just going to give it to him. If he does that achievement on the screen right now, 14 hat-tricks in one season, fuck it. Just change the law in England. Let's knight the bastard. Let's make him English and then get him to come and play for England. Let's do King Charles. Do something good for your country, my friend. Do something good. Do something good. Do you know Michael Jackson tried to do that?
He was born in Manchester or Leeds, wasn't he?
Who?
Haaland, by the way.
Yeah, he was born in Leeds. He was born in Leeds.
Yeah,
That's their claim to fame. Yeah, that's their claim to fame.
I remember watching the documentary and Michael Jackson was on it, and he was talking about how he was friends with Princess Diana, and he was trying to work out a way that he could become the first American to be knighted. Michael Jackson was a madman. I love that guy so much. Viewers, make sure you're smashing like buttons for us. Let's get the stream past 1,000 likes while we are live. The next talking point, as voted for by the audience, you know what it is, people. The next talking point is Arsenal schooled Tottenham. And they did school Tottenham. It was a beatdown. Not as bad as Man United, but I'm glad we're moving on from that. Now, that's done, that's dusted. We never have to speak of it again. But I'm going to come to you first, Patty, me old mucker. I know you were very emotional sitting there in your hoodie at the weekend. Very, very emotional. You see how emotional he was? You called Jess out for something you said. In the preview, you were like, I just hope this game isn't decided on a bad refereeing decision. He comes straight in and went, Jess, you said you didn't want this decided on a bad refereeing decision. He was so twisted. But how are you feeling now, 48 hours later, after that humbling at the Emirates, bro?
Listen, I just want to hold my hand out and apologize for everything I said about Thomas. Actually, no way. Fuck that. I would never do that. Listen, it is what it is. I think, do I be one of those guys that just plays it safe and just like, or do I talk my talk? I'm going to talk my talk and I'm going to live by the sword and die by the sword. Unfortunately, I got dealt with on Saturday. I died on my sword, man. Unfortunately, Partey scored a wonder goal. I was dissing him, saying every time he hits the ball, it goes into OZ. As soon as he hit, I was like, oh man, top bins, worldy. What can I say? But, you know, my opinion on Partey hasn't changed because at the end of the day, we play a 38-game season. We don't decide games after one or two or players or attributes after one or two games. But what I will say is that Arsenal were the better team. They deserve to win that game. Am I shocked that we lost at the Emirates? No, because unfortunately it happens every year. Am I angry and disappointed in the manner that we lost? Yes. Would I like the referee not to make a horrible decision? Yes. Is it a red card? I mean, Terry, you know what? When you put that tweet out, there were so many things I wanted to say, but I composed myself and I just wrote back a nice little response to, you said, you're just angry because Arsenal were good. I'm not angry that Arsenal were good. We get that Arsenal outplayed us. I'm just annoyed about the consistency of these refereeing decisions because even in your game, when who was it, Lukonga or whatever it is, raped down the shins of a Man United player, should have got sent off. It was a yellow card and they moved on. Van Dijk in the Merseyside derby, a yellow card, and they moved on. But Emerson Royale, and I think as well, we got to be. Yes, Emerson Royale is not the greatest player, but it's like better players are protected. So when Emerson Royale, who I hate to say it, isn't the greatest right back ever, or I don't want to call him crap because that's a bit harsh, but he's not great either. We gotta because the guy's not good. The decision is easier to make, and it shouldn't be that way. But I take it back to the game. Fair play to Arsenal, man. They dealt with us, and you got to take a look at a lot of Spurs players. Have got to take a look in the mirror. Harry Kane, Heung-min Son. Heung-min Son was awful, by the way, because even though
I get that, I want to come back to about how you played in a minute. I want to go back to the red cards. Sorry, I know you said about consistency. So you mentioned Lukongas, you mentioned Van Dijk's.
Yeah, were
they red cards for you?
This is the thing. Either they are or they're not. This is the problem.
So what do you think? Because my point is, I agree with you. They're both red cards. Therefore, I think Royale's is a red card. And for me, I want to encourage the refereeing standard to go up. So I don't want them to make. My view is I don't want them to not send Royale off because they make mistakes in the past. I want them to get it right now.
I hear that. Okay, all right. If I'm being 100% honest, I'm not gonna just say what I would like to say to suit my agenda. They're all red cards. If Van Dijk and Lukonga get sent off, then Royale's is a red card standard. I'll just be honest. But if they don't get sent off, which they didn't, then why is Royale getting sent off? So what I'm annoyed at is I don't make our game the game where you raise your standards. Keep it consistent. If your standards are on the floor.
No, but Patrick, I'm not hearing that because when
No,
because when it happened for you against us, you were there saying, "Oh, it's just you were silent."
These are different circumstances. A hair pull
circumstances. How?
Yes, Daniel.
Because in
How's it different?
In the FA handbook, there's nothing about hair pulling. There's no actual there's nothing about that. So you can actually get away with it on a technicality.
Patrick,
am I wrong?
Patrick, where in the FA handbook does it say if a player pulls out a baseball bat and smashes you in the face, you get a red card? Come on now.
You're going from one extreme to another. I get what you're trying to do, but that's
I quite like my hair being pulled, to be fair. But anyway, that's another conversation. Sorry, go on, continue.
But what I'm trying to say, I still look at that challenge and I don't think it was that bad. I don't think it was a yellow card and a stern telling off, especially in a derby. Come on. In a derby, there was a bit more, the barometer's a bit higher. You let a bit more go. It's not like that game wasn't even a bitty game. It's not like it wasn't really on the needle, was it? It's not like players were really going at each other. It was a bad tackle. It was a silly tackle. What frustrates me the most is that Martinelli was actually going nowhere. There was no need to do it. I don't think Royale meant it with any malice. I know, again, it doesn't really matter if the player intended to do it or not. But the reality is he didn't intend to really hurt him. It was just a badly timed tackle. Is that a red card though? Really? I don't know. I don't believe it is.
I don't think it is either.
I was shocked.
Chicken Royale, man, but he's just such a shit.
Patrick, what's your display name been changed to? What does that say?
Yeah, you know what? I've got to take the L. You know what? Unfortunately, listen, I'm out here, innit? Rain, sleet, sunshine.
I do think it was harsh. But it's one of these decisions where it's like whatever's given, you kind of just have to go with it because unfortunately they're not going to overturn the decision. That's just not how it is.
Frustrating.
It's just the way. That's just the way. VAR is, again, people need to understand VAR is not there to make the right decision, which is really stupid. It's actually there just to affirm what the referee's done. That's what it's actually there for.
Who here thinks it was a red card? Okay, see, there you go. So that's my point exactly.
I do that Saturday League football. I do that Saturday League football on a every other weekly basis.
Yeah, but you're a butcher though. You're a butcher.
That's my point. He's a baker, actually.
Hey,
my point, mate. Is this: you're from Peckham, bruv. So I know it's a red G. I know it's a. You're from Peckham. You're from South, so it's 100% a red. But go on, mate. You go.
No, I was just gonna say it couldn't happen to anyone worse. After him putting his Dragon Ball Z reference about going in the hyperbolic time chamber and getting in his breathing and then doing it's like the mentality wanting to become a better player. You just can't coach a Billy, unfortunately. He needs to go like the fella from the favela needs to.
Did you see Jed Spencer's sister's tweet just saying it could have been different? Yeah, and I was like, it could have been different.
This leads me on to my next question actually about the game. I want to go to Jerry on this one, and I want David to come. David ain't spoke too much yet. We had Spurs fans on the terrace after the show and our match reaction. By the way, massive numbers this weekend, so thank you to everyone who said that Conte was a coward with one, how they played the game, too pragmatically, too defensively, and then at 3-1 he brought on 4 or 5 defenders and like conceded the game. Do you look at that as a cowardice act or smart to not get a further beat down? Like, how did you look at the overall approach from Conte at the weekend? Was he a coward?
I don't know. I think it's quite easy to say that's a coward move or whatever because you're not playing the style of play that's popular at the moment, in my opinion. I think he's always been, a defense kind of solid first manager. And what he resorted to was obviously damage control, thinking that, if we put on these midfielders, we might dominate the midfield a bit more and then potentially get chances with obviously Harry Kane playing and stuff. It's a thing where it's tough because when it doesn't go your way, do you know what I mean? It's like, they've been poor, do you know what I mean? But look, in an alternate reality, and it didn't happen, but if Tottenham go on and score with those subs, then everyone's looking at that and being like, wow, what a masterclass, because they were defensively, do you know what I mean? They shored up defensively, they're not conceding now, and they're going to be able to go and, do you know what I mean? And they've gone and got a goal back, and now they're going to come out with a draw at that game. And until that, it's weird because until that red card, it did look like Spurs would get a draw at that game. It didn't look like Arsenal would win, even though they were the team on top. Arsenal still looked they did look a bit susceptible to that counter. And yeah, we do look at counter-attacking football as, do you know what I mean? I guess it's quite pragmatic and it's not a banker. I mean, they're not dominating the game.
Well, your club's going to have to resort to you soon, isn't it?
Facts. Our club's in the mud at the moment. We'll get onto that. But
JJ, you never bite, man.
He's real, isn't it? He's real.
His name isn't Zane. Damn, bruv. We said bruv. You know what I'm saying, bruv?
Yeah, man.
Very weird, that guy. Very weird.
Yeah. So for me, it's not cowardice. I think. I remember the game that Conte did this in that really stands out to me was when he was at Chelsea and he got packed by Arsenal and he went to a 3 at the back in that game and everyone looked at that and went, oh my God, what's he done here? Pragmatic when he should have been going for the game. He went on like a ridiculous winning streak, which ultimately obviously won the league. So you never know. That game might have triggered something in Conte to potentially play a Jed Spence or play a Basuma more, which might go and give a different result or like style of playing the game. So yeah, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But I wouldn't call it cowardice at all. I think it's different strokes for different folks.
And I add on that as well. I believe you on that one as well. I tweeted it myself. Spurs in the first half, yes, Arsenal dominated, but even Arsenal fans can't deny that Spurs had the better chances in the first half to go ahead. You can't deny it. Like if it wasn't for overhit, for the chances that were there in the box, other than the party goal and everything. Like they were there in their box when they needed to be, and they could have hurt them a little bit more. It's just the final ball was always horrible. Spurs, I think Richarlison overhit passes, a couple of them, and Son did one as well. It was horrible. I remember Harry Kane was clean through, but overall Arsenal did play better, and then Lloris opened up his, and decided to flap it in.
Yeah, mad.
What it is.
But yeah, it was frustrating because we finished this first half stronger. And I thought, yeah, cool, we're going to come out second half with a bit more energy and a bit more oomph. And we didn't. And we sat back. Arsenal came onto us. Lloris made a howler. They scored. I was like, cool, we're still in the game. When Emerson Royal got sent off with 30 minutes to go, I was like, you know what, game over. It's done now. 2-1 down, away from home against Arsenal at the Emirates with a man down as well. It's going to be difficult. When they scored the third goal, I was like, cool. So like JJ was saying, Jerry was saying, I don't think it was cowardice to do that. At the end of the day, you don't want a cricket score in your biggest game of the season so far. 3-1, yeah, we got battered, we got hammered, but 3-1 is still a respectable result. If you're getting beaten 5-4s, 6-1s, that's really when.
Anyway, look at their bench as well. They had no one else to bring on anyway. I mean, Brian Gill or like Papa Sarr or whatever. Like,
yeah, young'uns. One minute we're getting cussed for having OAPs, and then also when you get you can't win in it. You can't win. Yeah, but obviously Moura's out, Kulusevski's out. So yeah, there's 2 good attacking players out. Yeah, man, just gotta dust ourselves off and go
bounce
again.
back. We'll move on to
Yeah.
some of the super chats here. Does anyone genuinely think the red changed the game? Spurs had moments in the first half. From the second kickoff, Arsenal dominated and cut out the mistakes. What do you think, David? Do you think the red card changed the game?
I felt like, you know how games have ebbs and flows. Like your team's not always going to be attacking 90%, like for the full 90 minutes. I just felt like Spurs came out in the second half and Arsenal really went for it, and then they got their goal. But I felt like Spurs definitely had like another gear that they could have kicked into if they didn't have the man sent off. Because obviously you're a man down, and it's just a bit. You can't really. It's a massive struggle. But to be honest, I felt like Arsenal probably were going to win it anyway. I thought personally that the best that Spurs could hope for before the game was a draw. Not because Arsenal are like dramatically better than them. It's just because the history of the fixture is the team who is at home normally wins anyway, regardless of what's going on. And Arsenal and Spurs is like its own little mini league where when one's bad, the other's really bad, and when one's good, the other's quite good as well. So you never get like a massive disparity. So yeah, it is what it is.
In recent years, definitely. Comment here from Kai says, Kai, sorry, I just read the whole name out, and that name done my dyslexia big time. I was like, I can't even say the word. Conte, I'm done. Conte threw the towel in after 67 minutes. This guy, don't know what it mean about Derby. And make the surrender so obvious, even Spurs fans see it. A lot of Spurs fans weren't happy, that's for sure. Tottenham are terrible, United played awful, Liverpool are bad, and Chelsea are childish. That's true at the end. He says Chelsea getting screwed by Anthony Taylor. Now he's doing the same to Spurs. Karma. And that's also followed up by Mish. They both did the same thing. It's basically karma for that game. And that's the irony with these decisions. What goes around comes around. Like Spurs fans, when they got that point against Chelsea, were buzzing. Same manager, a few weeks later, makes them cry. Like, it's just how football works. It was a derby. It changes nothing. I wanted to ask you all about that. Like Mark Goldbridge went viral on Saturday for kind of saying that you should referee derbies different from refereeing normal games. What are you saying? Should you allow red card tackles in derbies and not in other matches?
I get what he means, but I think Goldbridge, I thought his tweet was, or his video was bang on to a degree. I don't believe that you should, a red card is a red card. If the challenge is dangerous and reckless, the player should get sent off. You can't go around literally breaking legs and bashing people up because it's a derby. Do I think the Royale tackle was a red card? I don't. But also at the same time, you need to keep the same standards, to be honest. So, yeah, I know a bit more does get, usually in the derby, your first few challenges and tackles, the referee doesn't give a yellow straight away. He almost just, gives the player a warning just so that the game flows and you don't get a man sent off because everyone doesn't want to see 10 versus 11. But if a bad challenge goes in, by all means, send the player off because you don't want to see people literally taking the piss because it's a derby. So I agree with what Goldbridge is saying, but to an extent.
My view of what Goldbridge said, again, it's not like an issue, it's just a football opinion, but not every club in the Prem has derbies. So therefore, if you referee them differently, those teams have an unfair advantage in a season. And it isn't about the game. So if you allow Royale to stay on because it's a derby, he then plays the next 3 games, which he should miss. So the point of a red cards don't even always impact you in the game they're in. Sometimes it's more the knock-on effect after that. So I think that's why I don't think they do it. But I do get the point. But in actuality, it's hard. Emerson is one of the worst right backs I have seen. He's so bad defensively. He makes Trent look good.
That's actually I don't.
That's a
sorry,
stretch.
Terry,
That's a big stretch.
He's actually good defensively, but so poor offensively. So it's a tough one, man. I want to defend him because I think he works hard. He has all the right attributes in terms of off. You know what? Let me just stop.
He works hard.
Sounds like Scott McTominay.
You should be a lawyer, bro. You should be a lawyer.
Yeah. Now you know what? Let me just stop. I'm capping. Just allow it. Yeah, he's done.
Aubameyang got sent off for this exact same thing against Palace. That's true. He did.
It's true.
The fact that the foul was unnecessary and the fact that his studs were up make it a red, but we didn't need that red to win. What if Arsenal were more efficient? In that first half,
Correct.
definitely. It's like these lot are allergic to giving full credit to Arsenal when it's due. Have they got have Spurs could have got back into the game? Spurs with the best chances with a question mark. And IBB here says, if that, they had one shot on target, barring the penalty. Second half, Arsenal cut out the mistakes. Didn't look like a draw even before the red. And I want to go to Jess on this, who's been obviously quite quiet so far, because obviously Arsenal were very good in that second half. I thought actually were quite good in the first half, to be fair. You haven't really been given the credit. A lot of the talk has been about the red card and how to referee derbies. Thankfully, no Arsenal fan was berated for celebrating, which is probably nice this week for a Gooner. But do you feel a little bit like all these if, buts, and maybes were irrelevant because you were winning anyway?
They are, because we could have scored another goal. What ifs and what could have happened and all that kind of stuff doesn't matter. You had one shot on goal. You gave up 22 shots or something like that. 15 of those came before the red card. You know, we had 9 shots on goal. You had 2. I mean, of course, Spurs are always in it because it takes one pass and they could have done whatever. But the truth is you couldn't pass a ball to save your life, and we could. So we were the better team. We deserved to win. These if, buts, whatever. I mean, I could do that all day. You know, if we would have got the goal that Martinelli scored at Old Trafford, we could have went on to win the game. Anybody could do that. But the reality is we were the better team. The statistics say it. The scoreline said it. Most people feel that way. And grabbing onto a red card and saying that would have been the difference or whatever, I just don't see it that way. So I think people do have a hard time giving Arsenal credit, but we were just better, and we're usually better than you guys at our place. So, you know, things will be different at yours, but I just don't understand why people can't just say the truth. Like, there's no way you watch that game. Of course, you're like, well, Son and Kane can always score at any time. But the reality of the game is that they just didn't even muster anything. And even if you're like, okay, well, but they could have. If we were the team that could pass to each other and could finish our chances and were efficient, and you were the team that couldn't pass 5 yards to the next person, who was the better team? Who had the composure? Who had the, so it's weird hearing this stuff. I'm okay with listening to it, but it's just crap. Like, I'm listening to this nonsense.
I think Arsenal were the better team in terms of they had the possession. The style of play was ridiculous. You can see the patterns of play.
No, I heard some of you guys saying that Spurs were better. Like,
no one said that.
I didn't say Spurs were better.
People said Spurs were in the game.
Spurs were threat. Spurs were in the derby. Like, Liverpool come up against with Everton all the time. We have all the possession and stuff, but on the counter, it's like, oh, do you know what I mean? That goal goes in, and then what happens?
Yeah, but I mean, the only reason why people give Spurs credit for that is because obviously, like any team that Arsenal play from this point forward, because of the way that we play, we're always going to be susceptible on the counter. The only reason why Spurs get more credit for it is because they have better players. But like fundamentally, and I'm going to roll it back. I heard one of y'all say that you thought Spurs had the better chances or something like that.
Better opportunities.
How did they have the better chances / opportunities if they had
in the first half
shots on goal?
Okay, I said in the first half, a chance can be. It don't have to be like slipped in. That's a clear cut.
Yes,
shot.
it does.
But the chances, not all the time. There was a chance where Richarlison a couple times was in the box, decided to let it rip late or anything like that. Could have scored easily, I think. Son overhit passes when Harry Kane is just easily through. There's one Richarlison pass that went left. But you lot didn't do that in the first half.
Kaz, when we were at Old Trafford and we were all up and through your box, and the only thing that we couldn't do was put the ball in the back of the net, but we were a good team, and our players had more touches in your box than yours did. What did you guys say? But you didn't put the ball in the back of the net. So were those really chances if you just had, you were just in the box, but there weren't really shots. But you weren't working. No, stop. Hold on. You weren't working.
What?
De Gea.
Loud attitude.
No, I'm just saying that you don't use the same logic when it goes the other direction.
No. No, I said
you did it.
you had a
You
lot of
didn't.
possession. You had a lot of
If you
possession.
didn't
I said
work,
when it comes to
if we didn't work
opportunities.
De Gea, and so we didn't really have chances or opportunities. And if you didn't work Ramsdale, you didn't really have chances and opportunities.
Okay, and as I said in the first, I've already said it. You wasn't efficient with it. When you got down our flanks, I said you wasn't clear cutting through the middle. Down the flanks, you got us a few times, but you didn't result to nothing. You could have easily been up against Man United in the first half. Okay, so what is your point there? I'm saying we beat you, and I thought we were better than you in the second half.
My point is that your logic is flawed because when it went against us, it is.
Really? I'm saying that Spurs, for me,
because Patrick himself even said he's come on and went and said an apology and said Spurs were the better team. You got put in a pack. He said we were. Do you know what I mean? We got beaten.
That's
I'm not
that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say.
What I'm saying is that I think we were a better. Like Arsenal were the better team. But when you look 100%. At the plan of the game, especially in a derby, is that it wasn't as though they had no opportunities and you guys dominated everything like you see with City sometimes. Like City against West Ham early in the season where West Ham couldn't even exit.
The point that I'm going back at, the specific point was they had better opportunities. And quite frankly, if you have one shot in open play, you didn't have the better of the opportunities.
I never said they were better though, Jess. That's all I'm going to get across. They weren't better. I just said they had the better. I feel like they had the better opportunities.
Yeah, but I'm pushing back on the fact that you guys are saying they had more opportunities or better opportunities. Like they didn't.
In the first half, we did. Jess, we did. And this is the thing. Like even I'm looking at the comments. Like people need to relax and actually listen to what I'm saying. I've said Arsenal were the better team. I said Arsenal deserved to win. I said Arsenal outplayed us. They came with more intensity. But also at the same time, at 2-1, before Royale got sent off, we were still in that game. No one can deny that. We've been resilient all season. We've stayed in every game all season. And as you know, we've got the quality to... It didn't happen. These are if, buts, and maybes. But we were still in that game at that point. But what I'm trying to say is Arsenal were the better team. I've said that many a time. Arsenal deserved to win. I've said that. I hold my hands up. We got done. But I don't know what Arsenal fans want. What more do you want? I said it all. Do you know what I mean? What more do you want?
Well, the fact that people...
It is what it is.
Terry asked me the question, why does it seem like you guys aren't giving us credit? The reality is that if the chat is saying, like, I'm seeing tons of people saying, and I felt the same way when I listened, but I just stayed quiet.
But you lot are oversensitive, though. Like, what do you want?
Not really.
Everyone's praising you lot. Tottenham fan, I don't see a Tottenham fan
I just
that is
heard
saying
you guys
that you didn't
sit there
deserve to
and
win.
say that, well, Spurs had the better opportunities. Arsenal were just had possession. That's
what's
not
wrong with that, though?
true.
What's wrong with that? At the end of the day, even if we did
Am
have
I
the
not
better
allowed?
opportunities in the
Am I
first
not
half,
allowed to go back to you guys and say that I don't think that that's true based on this? Because in reality, I remember sitting here and feeling like Arsenal played well or played decent against Manchester United, but because we didn't work De Gea, we didn't really have opportunities. We just had possession. Now you turn around, we had possession. They never even worked Ramsdale, but they had the better of the opportunities. I just find that warped. But it's okay. We have 3 points. I'm okay with it.
I can see a point, to be fair.
But that's what I'm trying to say. But like, okay, we're just emotional and we're just crying. All I'm saying is that, like, you didn't have opportunities. That's really what I'm pushing back on.
I mean, Arsenal had 9 shots in the box and Spurs had 4. So if you're talking about best opportunities, I feel like, again, I would agree that I felt like Arsenal had the better opportunities simply because
over the course of the whole game.
I know nobody about to gaslight me and act like I didn't hear.
I know.
Somebody, one of y'all said that they had the better
over the
opportunities.
course of the whole game, yes, because it was 10 versus 11. But in the first half, when it was level playing fields, we had the better chances. We were more dangerous. We looked like more dangerous.
No, I wouldn't. No. The opportunity. The opportunity.
Do you see what I'm saying? You actually think you had better chances.
So do you know what I think it is? I think there's an issue here with what one person is considering an opportunity versus another. I am kind of sitting on the fence here, but it's a sense of Spurs had the opportunity to play the balls in, to have golden opportunities, and they messed that up. So I wouldn't call that an opportunity as in a chance to score. I call that they missed an opportunity to create the chance to score. It's a step beforehand. They had
That's the one.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And they did have that. So Arsenal, in my opinion, had the better chances to score in that first half because they obviously scored one. They scored the cracker of a goal from Thomas Partey. There was a couple of times where Jesus was played in from that left-hand side where he went in on goal. They weren't
Hit
that
the
great.
post.
Arsenal. Yeah, hit the post from the shot from was it
on.
Martinelli? So they had the better chances and shots and attempts on goal. In terms of the counter attacks, Spurs had 2 or 3 openings. When you look back at it was like head shake moment. How did Son not even not play that pass into Harry Kane when it was open? And there were a few others that were not behind him. So I get that Spurs had those opportunities. It's in those opportunities to create chances is the way I would phrase it. I feel like that's where listening from the outside. I think that's what you're both kind of missing with each other in the conversation.
On that note, look, I apologize if I came across wrong, innit? I'll say it live and direct, innit? Like, I don't mean to come across wrong, by the way. But I get
I mean, it's cool. I just really push back on that one point. But like, I think Spurs, they had the opportunities, but they just, in terms of, they got to the halfway line and they were running fast towards goal.
It was lacking.
But they just couldn't pass. And like, ultimately, if you couldn't do that, you didn't have the quality. And so you couldn't have been the better team. You didn't have the better opportunities.
No one said we were the better team. No one said that.
I would say this is the thing with chances versus opportunities. If let's just make a player up now. If Trent Alexander-Arnold tomorrow night against Rangers squares the ball across the 6-yard box, but nobody's there, is that a chance or an opportunity?
Opportunity.
I couldn't opportunity. It was an opportunity. Like the ball's in the right place, but no one made the run. Equally, if the defender's open and Trent's got to square the ball back to him, but he overhits it. So again, it's not a chance, but it's still an opportunity where they could have created something. And I just think that's what Spurs did. When they didn't even get that far up the pitch, to be fair, it was the pass before it. But yeah, it's one of them ones to me. It was kind of frustrating to watch. I want to stay with you though, Jess. We're going to come back to some more sessions. We do super chats first because they're kind of on that talking point. Kaz full effort riding Patrick. You know what?
Allow it.
No reason but saltiness is what Mateo says there.
Now you know what could be anything. I mean, it could be his missus, could be anything.
Knowing you, Kaz, it'd be his bread bin. Spurs had a 10-minute spell. Ramsdale had an easy day. Arsenal had the better opportunities and deserved the win even before the red. Is Winter Surfer, who of course is a big Chelsea fan. Big up yourself, my friend. Thanks for coming back on the show. Not seen you in a while. How in the world did Spurs have the better opportunities if they had 7 shots in the game compared to Arsenal's 22?
In the first half, listen to what we say. Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Kaz is just biased against Arsenal. Facts.
No, big facts. Good super chat.
Chances by this logic, Jesus must have had 4. Sorry, that made me laugh. I don't even know why. Let's have a little look at it. If Spurs fans want to blame someone for taking them out the game, it's Lloris, not the red card at 2-1. Every Arsenal fan knew the game was done. Spurs fans should wave the white surrender flag every game. Top 5, not top 6. Ooh, no, don't ruin the branding, bro. Don't ruin the branding. Saliba pocketed the Spurs front 3. He did. Saliba was brilliant. Thanks for that.
Nah, he didn't. We were just crap. Let's not overdo it.
Arsenal, this is XG, isn't it? So 2.16, 3-1 it should be versus non-penalties here, 3-0, 0.62. Spurs got absolutely smoked. Arsenal had clear-cut chances first half and second. Tell them, Jess. Now, what I do want you to tell us, Jess, is this, though. The follow-up point to all of this chat is, when are you going to say the words, we are title contenders? When are Arsenal title contenders?
You have to get past the World Cup. Like, it's way too early. But, I mean, you watched Manchester City yesterday. Nobody's really touching them, really. They can run away with it whenever they feel like it. But, yeah, I think that Arsenal are playing really well. I also think people want us to either say it so that they can laugh at us later or whatever. I've seen people say like, well, you're not title contenders. Like that's a diss. It's not, because we're supposed to be just fighting for top 4. So yeah, I think some people are going to start thinking it. They're going to start smelling it. They're going to start drinking the Kool-Aid, but we're not title contenders. Like we're just not. You have to wait. Cause mostly, don't we usually say that you don't really look at the table until like 10 games in? Are we like 8 games in? Like, let's just let it cook for a little bit. We haven't even played everybody once. Let's just see how things go. I still think Chelsea will come back up. I don't think this is the end of Manchester United. Like, we really just need to wait. But we're playing really well, you know.
What are you saying, Jerry? Like, out of all of us, you've been a title contending team regularly for the past 5-6 years. The way they've started, I mean, no team has ever had 20 plus points after 8 games and not made the top 4 in Premier League history. I've done research, and in my own research, I can't find a proper big club that's won 7 of its opening 8 games and not been in a title race ever in the last 46 years. No, I don't think Tottenham won 7 of
2021, Tottenham were 20 points top of the league. City were 13th. Tottenham.
Oh, wow. Spurs did it. Well, I did say big team, by the way, so maybe that's why I missed Tottenham out.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
I'm not even going to buy it. You don't have your fun in it. Have your fun.
Yeah, sorry. So, I mean, I'm not even being rude. I kind of, when I said looking at big teams, I was looking at City.
We didn't win 7 out of our first 8 games. I'm sure we didn't. Yeah, I'm sure we didn't do that.
But yeah, so like my point to Jerry is, do you look at Arsenal? Is this a team that you can think could develop into title contenders this year? Do you think they're already there? Like, how do you see them as a? I mean, and also you're playing them this week as well. Like, how are you feeling about Arsenal?
I mean, in regards to playing them, I'm shook. I'm not gonna lie, I'm shook. Like shook. Like the way they're playing. Like like, contrary to a lot of people, I'm a massive, like, I always rated Arteta, always. When he was even getting his all, like, do you know what I mean, people were grilling him. I rated what he was trying to do. I rated and kind of the way in which he tried to approach the kind of rebuild of Arsenal. And I think at this point, you've got to go and say it. I think what Arsenal fans are doing, and Liverpool fans did it a lot as well when we won the league, is that you don't want to accept that you're title contenders until right at the very end, when you know it's like, we either are or aren't. I think you've got to come with it with chest, and the way you're playing, the kind of the squad you've got, if you're able to keep people fit, I think 100%. I think Arsenal are title contenders at the moment as well. What other team can really, like, is really consistent or has got their shit together or their ish together? Sorry. So yeah, I think Arsenal are. And I think if they maintain what they're doing, I think they are going to be a problem. I think we've got to look at them now as the real deal this season. I think even if they were not to win the league and finish, third, that's a massive improvement. Start of the season on what they did, or second or third, it's a massive improvement on what they've done previously, and you can see that there's progression. So they are the real deal at the moment. So yeah, I've got to agree with that one. Sorry,
David, shook. Are you becoming shook? Are you becoming scared of Arsenal yet?
No, not yet. I'm still waiting. I have to see what they're like when, you know, a bit of attrition kicks in. That's what I'm waiting for. That's my biggest question mark with Arsenal. Because to be fair, they have impressed me with the way that they played. They've been better than I thought they would be. I thought they would have at least lost 2 games by now, but they've only lost 1. But I just worry what happens when Jesus gets an injury. You've got to roll with Nketiah, or what happens when Saliba gets injured. You've got to roll with who's your backup centre back?
Ben White.
Yeah, Ben
White.
Well, Ben White. Yeah.
Rob Holding.
And then Tomiyasu plays on the right back. What else?
I'm not
Holding.
I'm not Tomiyasu's biggest fan. I'm not gonna lie.
David, one thing I'd say though in regards to that is that people would always say that in regards to Liverpool. So they'll be like, if Van Dijk gets injured, what happens? I mean, these are key players in your team that, of course, they're going to be the spine of your team that propel you to that title or that challenge. So, of course, if 5 of those players get injured, or if Jesus is out and they've got to play Nketiah, that's a massive drop off. That's like when we had
Not unless we're playing Chelsea, because Nketiah always scores against Chelsea.
That is
when
true.
We play you guys?
I don't know. But anyway, no. But again, in all seasons, like of all seasons where you're gonna get injuries, it is gonna be this one. Like I don't think many players are gonna get away with not having, like, at least even just they require a rest because they're gonna be absolutely tired. Because I look at Arsenal's squad and they're like, I think more than half the squad's going to go to the World Cup and then they're going to have to come back.
But see, the funny thing about that, though, is that I actually think the other teams in the top 6 have more players that are going than we do. And we also, like, a lot of the players that we have won't go. Like Zinchenko, he didn't qualify. Odegaard, he didn't qualify. Tierney, he didn't qualify. We have players that didn't qualify. We have players that aren't going to play. We have players that may not even make it. So I think that applies to everybody. And people forget that I think Thomas Partey has only played 3 games this season, or 4 maybe. Like, we've played without him and we've been all right. Only, so it's like, I get that, but I do think people underestimate the fact that we do have some depth. Now,
I agree.
we do need one. We need like one player for sure. We need another midfielder. And Sammy McBell came out today and said that Arsenal will try to get a midfielder in January. If we do that and we're in and around the top 1 or 2, whatever, in after the World Cup, then I'll start to believe. It's a long way from there. But I mean, like, you all have players going to the World Cup. You all
I get that, but I'm saying like the drop off from like Jesus and Nketiah, I think is, me personally. Obviously, everyone has their different ratings of players, but me personally, that's a massive drop off. The way you guys are talking about Saliba right now, if something was to happen to Saliba, the drop off to your next backup is going to be massive. Like, that is just the way it is.
To Ben White, though, really?
No, because for the way that you want to play your football, putting Tommy
Ben White, really?
Further up, I don't think is gonna. Again, it's because I don't personally rate Tomiyasu. That's the thing that I'm saying. I don't personally rate Tomiyasu that highly. If you rate Tomiyasu, then you're fine. You're okay. Then you haven't got too much to worry about.
Personally, like, I actually think the only real weak link in this Arsenal team all season has been Gabriel. Gabriel's been he's made 2 or 3 times he's been caught on the ball. One time it led to a goal. I know that Xhaka gave the ball away in the box, but Gabriel didn't need to make the tackle. It's almost, if Ben White could play on the left-hand side of that defense, I think he'd be better off. I honestly would play Ben White, Saliba, and Tomiyasu. Like, I'd take Gabriel out, but obviously that it's hard to play on the. Some players struggle playing on the left-hand side of the defense, being right-footed. It can be a problem, but yeah, I think swapping, like, if Saliba went out and you put Ben White there and Tomiyasu, I don't think that changes much. I get the Nketiah thing. Can he score enough goals? And it's not even the goals, it's the influence that Gabriel Jesus has. But I think outside of Man City, I think everyone else in the top 6 has the same issue that Arsenal are being laboured with. If Chelsea was to lose 2 or 3 key players, you ain't making the top 4. If Tottenham was to lose Harry Kane for 3 months and Son for 3 months and and Højbjerg for 3 months, are you making top 4? Would you be confident? Of course you're not. No. For me, I do get the point. If Arsenal get all these injuries to all their main players for long periods, they won't make the top 4. But of course, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone kills me, I'm going to be dead. Yeah, you're right. Well done. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's not, for me, it's a cop-out answer. It's, if this Arsenal team gets no major infestation of injuries, how good do you think they're going to be? Like,
all right, Terry, are they title challengers, Terry?
Me, not right now, no. I think City will pull away as it stands. But I think what Arsenal will develop into this year, I felt the same the whole year. I think they're going to develop into a team that will challenge next year. I think they're going to qualify for the Champions League. It's going to be a shoo-in. I don't think they're in a top 4 race. I think they are going to come second in the league. I don't know what the points difference will be, but they'll be at a point where they'll need a few more players going into next season, and then they will be able to challenge for the title. They are a brilliant team.
How tall is Emil Smith Rowe?
6 foot.
And he's got growing pains. He's got growing pains, you know, at 22 years of age. So is he going to be like 6'2" when he comes back and we see him or something?
That's so random.
No, I know. Because he's on Arsenal, and I was thinking, wait, who have they actually got in squad? I'm like, Smith Rowe. What happened to him? And then I heard he's got growing pains as an injury, by the way. So is he going to? I wonder how he's going to come back and how he'd play when he does eventually get taller.
I wish I grew at 22. I stopped growing at about 16, bruv. A lot of my mates, I remember, like, between 16 and 18, they shut up. I was like, mine's coming soon, especially as my dad's 6'3", and I got all my brothers, barring one, are like well over 6 foot. I was like, I'm getting it soon. Didn't happen. That's why but I'm the hardest of me and my brothers. I smash them all up. So yeah, I ain't got the height. I'm not even that short either, by the way. But there we go.
You're not.
No, not compared to you, Kaz. I mean, you even make KJ look tall.
We're the same height. We're the same height, Terry. I'm
only joking. I'm only joking. But yeah, KJ is very short. But yeah, I think, like, the thing with Arsenal is, it's like, I don't think people want to answer the question honestly. It's all, yeah, but if they have these problems they do badly, it's like, how good do you really think they're going to be? I think they're going to be.
I just think they'll finish top 4 more than, even if they're really good. It will be more but another reason will be because the other 3 or 4 teams fighting below them are all in a bit of a mess right now.
That old chestnut.
But Jess, I'm not saying it will be because of that. What I'm saying is that will also be like, you won't have to. It won't be 4 teams going for that top for that.
It'll be because you're worse than us. Like that's, pretty much like that's 1 + 1 = 2. They finished because the other teams were worse.
It's because I didn't think that my club was going to sack my favorite manager. I didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't expect Liverpool to be this bad.
Yeah.
I didn't think Spurs would be conceded 20 shots a game. Like these things.
You know what's interesting about that though? Like if you look in history, like most times there's always, well, it's only been a couple of years really where there's been like 6 really good teams. Before it was like 4. But there's usually a team or 2 that just don't do well. That happens every single season, and that's just how it goes. But nobody cares. Like that does not, like if we finished like that and everybody else is just crap, and that's the reason why people say it, we don't care. Like we just need to get top 4. That's it.
My only caveat with Arsenal that I would actually just put an asterisk by is obviously City and Liverpool when we were challenging, obviously we're the only teams in recent memory that have gone on 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 game. Well, yes, Conte as well. Yes, David. Sorry, got to add you in there as well. But do you know what I mean? As in consistently we're able to go and do that. And currently, obviously, City look like the only team that can go and do that. Now, Arsenal are playing well. But if they pick up a couple draws on the bounce, even though they'll be in good form, that will be enough to go and for City to create that separation. And I think that's where, time will tell. In regards to how well Arsenal will do, but I think you've got to say it with chest, especially if you're an Arsenal fan, you've got to start saying like, yeah, look, we're title challenge because albeit, if the season was to end today, you win the league. Do you know what I mean? So
February, man, say February, I would say the challenges thing, and also for people as well. And I see the comment, I decided to turn off private chat. He's got groin injury due to growth, which is growing pains. Go do your research, you donuts. Anyways, long story short, I don't know how we've escaped one topic. Yeah. How did Thiago Silva not get sent off either?
Yeah, Thiago Silva definitely should have got a red card at the weekend. Like, no doubt about it for me. I think you said it, Jess, when we did the match review show on the studio, that maybe it's because it's Ayew and Palace and the referee doesn't see him as a guarantee. Because that's Harry Kane who's about to take that ball away. Yeah. 100% a red card. If it's Jesus,
it's a goal scoring opportunity.
Rashford is 100% a red card. Yeah, but
yeah, and Patrick also reinforced that he felt like because Royale is terrible, they're like, yeah, it has to be a red. Yeah, perception is key.
I think so.
Perception is key. It's funny that when it's Xhaka, nobody seems to, but yeah,
right. You had to slip that in there, innit?
Perception is key. Like I do think it's key, and they were talking about Ayew, and I was like, but he is in on goal. But like, if that had been Rashford, I think they would have called it. I really do think
because Ayew's crap. No disrespect to Ayew, because Ayew's crap, and because Emerson Royale, if we're just calling a spade is crap, it's an instant red card. But if that's a better player, they get away with it, which is crazy.
I do not endorse that message. I know what you mean. Let's have a little of these super chats here. Pat thinks he can score if they play the right ball, as if there is no defense. Son ball to Kane. That Kaz was talking about nonsense. Saliba 2 times is what
these are clinical players, though. Some of the best attacking players in the world. So more often than not, they do tuck those chances away, as we all know. So why are you laughing?
Heard rumors that Patrick is I am my girl, Colleen. Fair play. Made the best man win, Patrick. Kaz, do you think United can still make top 4?
So hell no. No, I never thought United. I thought United would never get top 4. I've already said 6 from ages ago. I'll keep consistent with it.
Remember, Nketiah toasted Chelsea last season.
Yeah, fair play. He did actually.
Yeah, they did. Disagree. Chelsea had injuries, still got top 4, is what Obo's got to say. Nketiah is better than Aubameyang, Broja, and Havertz.
Wow.
It's a bit. David, how can you not rate Tomiyasu? Are you against Asians?
I just gotta laugh at that, to be honest. I just gotta laugh.
There we go.
Why don't you rate Tomiyasu? It is strange that you don't. Like, I get that he
weird.
He's just like I don't know who's he like.
He's like good.
No, he's like Tyrek Mitchell. He's just a really he's an all like good to all right defender, but for going forward, he's awful. Get rid. Nah, he's bad.
Oh, you're all about the attacking fullback. If you're
I
not
like my fullback to be able to go both ways. That's why I don't like Trent as well.
It's a preference thing, guys.
I don't like that.
You like it, David? You like it both what?
I said I like my fullback to go both ways.
I hear you, David. That uni life got under your skin, G. My brother, you were in Cardiff. I know they go two ways with up there, bro. Anyway, only Arsenal get injuries. Only Arsenal have to deal with Europe. Only Arsenal have players going to the World Cup. Straw grasping is what Marcelo has got to say there.
Have Arsenal played 2 games a week?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Exactly.
There you go.
That is true. That is true. Terry,
boom, Patrick. That's it.
Boom. Yeah, that's it. Good. I'm cooking. I'm back, Jess. I'm back.
I love this one idea. If your mum had wheels, she'd be a bike. But you've got to have Gino De Campo's voice. If my grandmother had the wheels, she would be a bike. Again, I still don't quite understand it, but there we go. Terry, why do you say Liverpool is a well-run club when our net spend is comparable to Brighton and Fulham? So again, you misunderstand what I mean by well-run. You are not allowing player power to ensue. You're not growing crazy debts that are crippling your club. Your stadium isn't leaking. Your training ground is top of the range. You invariably hold on to the top players that you want to keep. To name a few things, you're one of the best managers in the world. You have spent a lot of money. What did I say, brother? Listen to the words. I'm going to quote a little bit of Jackie Chan here. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. I think Chris Tucker also said that in the first one. But anyway, you're brilliantly well run, but need to spend more money. But the rest of it run well. Like it's adding one more element to your club, my friend. Sorry to get very, very slow talking there, Luca, but I had to do it, my G. Thank you. Speaking of Liverpool, though, 1, 2, 3, 3 goals conceded. Trossard with a hat trick. I mean, I'm so annoyed United got panned because this should have been the biggest talking point of the weekend. It should have been. But Man United have done Liverpool an absolute touch here. We know you've got an easy game in the Champions League this week against Rangers. You were going to body them at Anfield, but it was another disastrous week, Jerry, for Liverpool. 3 goals conceded. Trent and Van Dijk having nightmares. And I mean, the title race looks done now already. Like, what's going on, bruv? What is going on at Liverpool?
Title race. What are you talking about? We're a top 4 team. Maybe. Maybe, and that's a maybe. We're challenging for top 4. No, we are. It's horrible, and I think talking about form and its players, it's more than that. You're talking about 7, 8, 9, 10 players all off the boil. This is deeper than just, oh, look, a couple players out of form. Once we get it clicking, we're going to get it again. It's a system issue. It's a gelling issue. We're trying to play one way, but have players to do the opposite thing. We've got Thiago, and we're forcing him to do the running, and ultimately he gets injured. We've got Nunes, but we want to play with a false 9, and he's now coming off the bench and doing what Origi's done in previous seasons. And yet it is early, but it doesn't look good at all. And I don't really know where to start. Like, I think the biggest problem and the biggest issue for me at the moment is after the Napoli game, Klopp came out and said, look, Liverpool need a reinvention. We need a reinvention. We need to do something different. And the 2 games after that, we've done the same thing. And yes, we did go and win against Ajax, but we haven't changed anything. And right now, for me, is of course you can look at, as you've spoken about, Terry, FSG, we should have spent more. We haven't got the midfielders. We've had a couple injuries. But right now, we can't really affect those issues. So it's the things that you do on the pitch. And for me, Klopp at the moment, Klopp and Linders aren't doing enough and haven't got any ideas to get us out of this rut. There's a quote that's come out today where he said, the one thing we can change is just do what we've been doing, but do it better. And I think that's just comical. When you hear that, it's just comical. And the fact that David's laughing, it just says it all. It's gotten to a point now where we have to look at what the manager's doing to go and get us out of this rut. Because going back to Conte, we spoke about it. Conte, when he was at Chelsea, Do you know what I mean? Arsenal packed them. You went to a back three, and do you know what I mean? Then went on the run, which obviously and ultimately they won the league. Liverpool are just doing the same thing, expecting different results, and that's just insanity at the moment. It's insanity. And I mean, Terry, you're speaking about. I mean, yeah, we got an easy game at Rangers. Don't be surprised if we draw 1-1.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
A lot of Liverpool
Don't
fans.
do
I
that.
know I'm going to get against the grain with a lot of Liverpool fans. Don't be surprised if we draw against 1-1 and come out of this run that we've got in October with Arsenal and then City with what 3 points potentially. Because do you know what I mean? We could do a job on Arsenal. Like, do you know what I mean?
Sorry. So my finger slipped. I'm sorry, Jay. I'm sorry, JJ.
You're mocking. You're mocking.
Do you know what, though? I'm gonna
I knew it was coming, Patrick. So I was just firming it. I was gritting my teeth. I tried to back you as well. Like,
I want to say this, JJ. I want to release my inner Kathy Newman. Is what you're saying is Klopp out? Is that what I'm hearing here?
I'm saying Klopp do better, and it will get to a point where if I have to say it, I will say Klopp out. Because I get it, he's got credit in the bank, he's done a lot of stuff, he's a great manager. Do you know what I mean? The best manager I've gone and seen in my life. But for me to sit here as a fan and say, this is as good as it's gonna get. Like, no, it doesn't matter what happens now. We can finish 8th, but Klopp brought us the Premier League, so I can't say anything. Do you know what I mean anymore? Is that no? I'm not going to
really.
Mate, I'll make you right in that regard, in the sense of it is a tough one because he could turn things round. It depends on what the club wants to spend, but a few years ago, when you had the injury problems and you had the bad run of form, and then you came back at the end, you came back when he got smart and put your midfielders in midfield and just played centre backs. When he went through that period of like, I'm going to keep playing Firmino and Henderson and whoever else is back as centre backs, you guys were getting battered week in, week out, and it was blamed on the injuries. As soon as he put everyone back in the right positions, he started winning games. It was almost that was Klopp's mistakes. I do get a feeling, and I don't know what David thinks of this. Do you think this 7-year itch cycle is real, or is that just people looking for a connection in numbers? What do you think that?
I think it's people looking for a connection in numbers. When I watch Liverpool, I don't look at them and go, "These guys are tired." I just will look at them and go, "Some of these guys just aren't good enough." Like Milner's just not good enough. Henderson is just not good enough. Hate to say it, Trent. Defensively, is not good enough. I get what he does going forward. He's amazing. He works in crosses, but defensively, he's not good, and he has to do his job. I don't care what anyone tells me. He has to defend. Van Dijk right now he's Van Dijk. Thiago is reverted back to type, which I quite like. So yeah, because Patrick, no. If you don't know it, so when Thiago first got signed, every Liverpool fan on the terrace at the time was like, "Oh, he's amazing. He's gonna get so many assists. He's gonna break lines. He's gonna do." I was literally there like, "He's not." I was like, "Guys, you don't know what you're buying. He's not that kind of guy." And yes, last year he was quite good, and I had to be a bit quiet. But now he's back to the way he was, and I'm really happy about it.
I mean,
so as long as he stays there.
Come back from injury. I mean, David's only come back from injury, so he hasn't really played to go.
Yeah, but that's Thiago. That's Thiago. He gets injured. He runs. He gets injured. And that's when Liverpool are bad. I'm a happy guy. Unfortunately, Chelsea have also been bad as well. So
JJ, what about an alternative then as well? Like, I remember, was it 03? You'd know more than me, Terry, like off the top of your head. 03, 04 and 04, 05. I think Man United finished third twice in a row. And we had a collective of a handful of losses as well after doing a treble as well, of a three-peat, shall I say, sorry. And then he had a bad run. But Alex Ferguson had credit in the bank, of course, because he won multiple titles. I would like to think Klopp has a lot of credit in the bank. What if you just finish third this season and he can correct his mistakes, see who the bad eggs are, and refresh the team from there? And this is at the time before the Glazers bought Man United as well. So it was towards the end.
100% he's got credit in the bag. Hence why I'm not coming out here being reactionary saying, "Klopp out, get out, get out." Of course he's got credit in the bank. Like, I mean, he's going to have the whole of the season to go and sort it out. Do you know what I mean? The difference is, though, we're living in a different era where times are changing very, 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 very quickly. Now, in that 3 years, if we're going and developing something and you're seeing something which we actually haven't seen from Klopp, because when has Klopp ever had to go and, come from, like, be at a club where he's been in a rut and then come back and then win a league or dominate or challenge for leagues again? He's never done it. He hasn't done it at Dortmund. He hasn't done it at Mainz.
He's never rebuilt a team. And on the Fergie thing, you're right. He was given time, but Fergie came third. Then he won the league. then he came third, and then he came second behind. They came third 2 years run. You're right, and that was to the Invincibles, followed by Chelsea's first title-winning team, and then came second the year after. So 3 years that win the league. But if you actually go back and look at those seasons, we weren't losing and dropping points and playing like Liverpool are. There was a difference. Equally, that first drop-off, that was the season where Fergie announced his retirement. So you're too young to remember. He announced his retirement. The team sort of fell apart a little bit, and then he reversed his decision in around the January, February time and kind of caught up again. And yes, he had that 3-year period where we didn't do so much, but we were still making it into the Champions League, going deep into that, still winning domestic trophies and still looking good. It's a little bit different, but and he'd already built 2 teams at that point. So I think the credit's there that can Klopp, like Pep's kind of proven at City that he can rebuild teams, that he's building again. This is something Klopp's got to prove. And Klopp's biggest challenge is he's got to do it with the FSG spending in comparison to what Chelsea are doing. You know, Arsenal spent quite big in recent years and everything else. So it's an interesting situation. Super Chat here says, I feel sorry for Liverpool's fullbacks come Sunday. This is what he's got to say there. Mark Neighbour, long time no see, Mark. Hope you're well, my friend. Long time Super Chatter at the Terrace. Says, football is a business, always has and always will be. I'd rather not win a trophy for 50 years then put the club badge at risk. Trophies come and go. The badge will be with us for the rest of our lives. I'd love to know what that's in relation to, brother. That's a very deep and meaningful, and I do get where you're coming from. I'd love to know why you're saying that, though, Mark. Thank you very much. Jerry, it doesn't help when Mo, Diaz, Trent, Robbo, Alisson, Van Dijk played over 4,700 minutes for Henderson. Fabinho and Henderson 3,700 and 8 of our and that's 8 of our starters.
Exactly, Jamrock. But the problem is, though, is that when our manager's coming out and when we're all calling for a midfield at the beginning of the beginning of the transfer window, and he's saying, "No, I'm happy with what we've got. We've got players. Look, we've got Morton, who ended up going out on loan and playing centre back now for Blackburn, and then a month later coming out and saying, actually, I got it wrong. Well, then that's the issue. Who do I put my blame at? Because we know that, do you know what I mean, as Terry alluded to, Pep's been able to go and rebuild teams slowly, and you don't even notice it. But you look at the team that won the league 3-4 seasons ago to now, it's completely different to what they're doing today. So, yeah, man.
To be fair, without Alisson, you guys would be in a whole lot of mess. A whole lot of mess.
We would, if we didn't have Alisson, I don't think I'd be on today. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I'd be on today,
mate. Welbeck looked like Haaland. Like, in terms of the way he was powering in front of people, that man has got no knees or hamstrings, bro. And he's looking like a young Don Cheadle, and he's running through. He's literally like acting like Haaland out there. I couldn't believe it. And when you guys went 3-2 up, I thought, Liverpool see it through now. Yeah, but as soon as you got that third goal, you were creaking again straight away. And listen, I was happy, you know, that Trossard got. It's nice seeing smaller clubs do well, and you know, Trossard with his I did it again. Trossard, do you know what I mean? And honestly, like, I will say this: my team started poorly this season, but I still rather be. Right this moment in time, I'd rather be a Man United fan than a Liverpool one, because I don't know if your club is going to spend enough to catch the teams that are now ahead of you. City, Arsenal are playing better than you. I think they'll keep spending money for Arteta. I think Chelsea we're going to get onto them in a minute, are going to go to another level. And eventually you're going to lose Klopp. And you've got the best, one of the best 2 managers in the world. You ain't replacing him like for like. Like, I'm not saying you guys are going to fall off and start finishing mid-table, but I think maybe challenging for titles could be done for a little while now for Liverpool.
No, but Terry, exactly. But think about it. We're talking about, do you know what I mean, us spending. I'm not even asking Liverpool to spend. Right now, we're not in a position today to do anything about getting midfielders in, or do you know what I mean, spending more money. We can't until January, but Liverpool aren't going to do anything in January. It's going to have to be the summer. We know how we operate. Do something in game to show me actually we're changing something. So I get the instruction for Trent is to bomb forward and stuff, and yeah, he's not working hard enough in my opinion, but he's in different positions. I mean, in the game yesterday, on Saturday, he was up front sometimes. He was the furthest man forward, so he's doing the madness at the moment. Why doesn't Klopp put out an instruction, sit back? We've just got the lead, sit back and defend. When have Liverpool sat back and tried to soak pressure? There's no tactical kind of, I don't know, like cerebralness to what's going on at Liverpool. It's just the same thing. It's rinse and repeat. It's intensity. Keep running. Keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. It's insanity. That's the best way to
It's
put
the
it.
Pep Linders effect. It's the book. Intensity. Just keep it up.
Intensity.
Keep going.
Insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you bring out a book at this time as well? I don't understand.
Oh, now I'm gonna get corned. Oh,
I love it.
That book is so funny.
I don't even know anything about this book because obviously I would never read it. What's it about?
It's just about Liverpool's obviously title and quadruple exploits last season, but we've decided to release this book. Exploits, yeah, well, challenging for a quadruple exploits.
After not winning it, you released a book about it.
After not winning it, yes.
Oh, that is. I'm sorry. That is so Spursy. Like,
Yeah,
No, but let him finish.
The Spurs
There's
made the
mo-
video. The Spurs made the video in the final.
Why
They didn't
are we
win.
catching strays? What has this got to do with us? But you know what? Nah, all jokes aside, it reminds me of that Pochettino book when he released it, and then we didn't win a game away from home for like a whole year. Like, you just don't do stuff like that, man. You're just jinxing yourself. It's mad.
Yeah,
It's called intensity.
But I don't get it. Well, we released the book. But what I
Intensity.
don't get is, if you had won the quadruple, you kind of get it. Like they've released the book,
Yeah.
they've done something historic. We didn't. We ended up with 2 trophies.
No,
the
I
Carabao
like.
FA Cup, and we're talking. Sorry, and the book's like alluding to the fact of how amazing we are and how amazing Cater is. He's a world class.
It's almost as embarrassing as when you won the Premier League and you did that and because the Champions League was delayed that year because of COVID. You did the trophy thing with all 3 trophies, like you won them all in the same season, like a treble. That was it was almost like so bad.
It's almost.
I heard like it says.
We won it, so it's like cool. But
I
this
heard
one
it
was
has
just-
something like no transfers, just practice. Like
training is our transfers. is the first
yeah,
chapter.
training is our transfers. I
Wow.
was like, that is the best thing I've ever heard. Training is our transfers.
Yeah.
You need transfers.
Training is our transfer. Do you know what that is, though? Do you know what that book actually is? That is a Merseyside, communist Merseyside propaganda book. So what you'll get, like, if you guys start playing well, but this is what will happen with it. You pull faces. But say you guys start playing well again, I guarantee you. I won't say my children. I'm not going to say on my brand new car I've just bought. I guarantee you. I'm not going to put on my kids. I put on my car, right? I guarantee you on my car, right? On my pets, dogs and cats, right? That if you guys start playing well, there will be top reds next summer saying, but training hard is basically a transfer. They will start to repeat these. It's only because it's going wrong that the book's being ridiculed. Does that kind of make sense? Like a lot of the top reds I see online who like toe the party line, anything James Pearce says, they go, oh, yeah, James Pearce said it must be true. Those are the ones who look really stupid right now because it's gone the wrong way. But they will read that book. They're going to memorize every line and they will do it. By the way, I've got a bone to pick with the Red Men, and I'm going to call these out properly. So all the merch we get that made at Give Me Sport and for the Terrace, Red Men and their infrastructure build it all. They do it as a business. It's just like white labeled, so their company does it. So they made me a Skulls t-shirt. But the label, like all the t-shirts they make, there's like a label on the bottom part of the t-shirt that says "Give Me Sport" on it. They fucking put a Liverpool crest on it, the bastards, for mine. I like it. I'm gonna call them out. On that. Terry Carr, RIP. No, I'm serious. My car's nice little i8. It's nice. I like it. I can't wait. But wanted one for ages. Midlife crisis and all that.
That's one of my favorite cars. That's
all right. I'll give you another lift home soon, David, when you come down next.
Okay.
I pray Klopp plays Milner at left back against Saka. This comment here says, Jess, today is cutthroat. Love it, is what EBB has got to say. Tommy going forward is awful. Why y'all, I've got to say it like that. Why y'all think Saka is that good last season? It's because he overlaps, etc. Heck, that Martin assist has been imagined, is what Friendly Enemy has got to say.
Why does he think Saka is good? You've got like double assists and goals, no?
No, he's saying Saka was good because Tommy Asu.
Yeah.
He's
saying
running around him.
Yeah. Someone saying RIP Terry's Cars and Pets. No, I said if Liverpool get good again. So if they don't get good, my pets are safe. The car's safe. Chelsea have pretty much signed Christopher Nkunku. That's pretty much done, dusted, and over the line. Told everyone to be scared of this Chelsea project. Buying youngsters, getting a sporting director, spending money, They're also looking. They're going to get Nkunku. They're going to try and get Rafael Leao as well. They're going to try and get Jude Bellingham as well. They're still going to try and get Declan Rice. Your club is doing Roman spending with Ajax club level building. What are you saying, David? How excited are you about the future?
I'm very, very excited. I'm still in my depression hoodie because Tuchel's not there and I really miss him. That's my guy. But Potter's there. We won a game finally. Conor Gallagher actually did something. I'm shook. And Nkunku is just, he's such a good player, man. He's so good. Whenever Leipzig play Dortmund and I watch it, I'm just like, this guy is so, so good. Last year, got 20 goals and 13 assists in the Bundesliga. That's pretty mental. This guy, he's clinical. And the problem is he's gonna come into Chelsea. He might have a bit of a stinker at the start, and everyone's gonna put pressure on him. But I'm confident of this one as well. But we'll see what happens. If we can get Nkunku, Leao, Gvardiol, Declan Rice, we're gonna be, if not there, we're gonna be very close to being there, and I think we'll start challenging quite soon. And to be honest, Todd Bowley, even though he's done some questionable things and said some questionable things, he's doing very well. I think I would give him like a B plus right now. I've just got to see how it all plans out. But right now, all the ideas and the things being thrown around and the promises that have been made and the infrastructure that's being improved, I'm just very happy with it. I'm very, very happy. I don't think many Chelsea fans can really complain too much. So yeah, that's me.
Super chat here says Terry has been pairing us to be afraid of every team except Man United. No, I mean it with Chelsea. Is anyone else looking at them? And I know they haven't really started yet cooking yet under Graham Potter, but surely the way they're operating has got to make you think, Jesus, they just don't stop spending. They're buying multiple clubs around the world. They're going to bring in a sporting director who will take over all the bullshit that Todd Bowley's been doing. They're basically going to make an all-star games happen. That's going to happen, which means more income for Premier League clubs. What we saying, rivals, about Chelsea's little plan of action right now under the man who is now formally known as
Oh Lord. Or Monster's calling Todd Voldemort. I swear this guy wants to get closer to the fans. This guy, I'm not joking. This guy's picked up a controller and he's found out what FIFA Ultimate Team was. And he built a team and he said, you know what would work? Nkunku, Leao, Gvardiol, and all these, man, because now you can have all these chemistries. You don't need it. Play in any league. So he's just, I'll have that. I think I'll have that. I can afford him. How much is his price on FIFA? You know what? Let me check his value. I'll take that as well. Why not? It's scary. I can't lie. I've been a big advocate for Potter. I did predict that. I think Chelsea will be very good under Potter this season. And they will climb up the table massively. So yeah, next season's looking kind of long, especially if Potter places his philosophy down correctly at that club. So yeah, is what it is.
You hear that depression there, David?
I was gonna say that was big depression. That was really big depression. I just hope we beat Milan on Wednesday and we be more comfortable in the Champions League group.
That's important. That's important because if you lose these games back to back, I mean, you're pretty much out.
Yeah.
Then you got to come play with us in the Europa nights, which you don't want. That could happen. I mean, Spurs could go out as well. You got Frankfurt back to back. Get sausage, bro.
Frankfurt haven't been great this year. You've seen
Tottenham in Europe.
That is true. Also, there is a slight feeling in me that if we do make it through the group stage, I feel like Todd B is going to sign Cristiano Ronaldo. I just feel like that is.
Please take him, my brother. Please take him.
I feel like that is just going to happen. I personally wouldn't want it, but I feel like it's going to happen.
There's a comment that came here from a member that says, Terry, what about FFP? Well, of course it's FFP, but remember, the new owners are allowed almost instantly when they buy a club to pump around £90 million of their own money into the football club. They've already raised around 50 million through sales. They will also raise a further 70 odd million just through the sale of Lukaku next year. So that's what 120, 130 million pounds instantly raised. They've spent around 250 so far. So if people like net spend wise, it isn't as bad, but of course that's income that comes in. They're also getting rid of a lot of players on massive salaries over the next few years, which is an even bigger increase. They're also going to sell players on the following summer. They're going to get money for a number of players that are going to be leaving and or saving tens of millions of pounds a year on that. There's multiple other areas that they're looking to do business in, though. So this buying satellite clubs is a way of making money over a period of time. The idea that I actually think it's an even better idea than the loan system they had running. What they'll be able to operate and do is essentially they'll set up their own version of an RB Salzburg, and they can put 5, 6, 7 really talented young players in there to a decent league being trained well. And it'll be a philosophy that matches their clubs as well. So the transition's important. If they don't have room in their squad for the player because they've already got a world-class striker and there's a world-class striker coming through, they'll sell him for 30, 40, 50, 60 million pounds, and the Chelsea group earns that money. And they will just find a way. I don't quite know how they'll do it yet. It'll probably be through a big feeder club fee into Chelsea's coffers. Or what they'll be able to do is sign the next Haaland, sign the next Sadio Mane for a nominal fee, 5 million, 10 million pounds, instead of going into the market and dropping 80, 90 million. So there's more than one way to raise money. You can save it as well. So they've also got a lot of connections throughout America and the rest of the world, the Todd Bowley group. So the level of investment and the commercial deals they're going to be able to generate, especially in the American market, financially is huge. I'm not saying that Roman didn't have connections over in America, but there's a lot of money over there, and a lot of those people are willing to throw it at anything. So football is a great investment for them as well. So I don't think Chelsea have got any worries about FFP at all. I actually think the group themselves are probably more wealthier than Roman Abramovich was. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about the FFP.
Also, it makes sense why we're going after. Well, why we did go after Salzburg sporting director, because he's obviously quite comfortable working between having the top club and the feeder club. So I'm pretty sure that was the plan, but obviously that's not going to happen. But there'll be other ways that can be brought about. So yeah, very happy. I'm very happy.
Comment here says people saying that Nkunku is Werner 2.0. Don't watch him. What are you saying? It'll be the same as Werner?
I hope not.
You might as well save your £2, big man. Be honest.
David,
No, he's saying people that are saying that don't watch him. He's actually rating Nkunku.
Oh, I was going Werner 2.0. No, they're completely different players. Completely. If anything,
a lot of people.
He's saying Leipzig. Werner came in and wasn't great, so Nkunku's going to come in and also not be great and stuff like that.
Because there's a lot of people in the comments saying that he's like. So there's a comment there saying he's a black Werner. So it's like,
come on, man. No,
I mean,
nah.
I do not endorse this message. I do not endorse this message.
David, where do you think Nkunku will play? Like, what position? Because it's quite a weird one, isn't it? Because he's not really he's like a Havertz, isn't he? He's like
I was gonna say, I think both Havertz and Mount should be very worried about their current.
He's scared. Honestly, bring in Nkunku and Trossard, take care of Mount and Havertz.
I was literally saying on the weekend,
the intricacy of play.
I was saying on the weekend that I would take Trossard in a heartbeat. Get rid of Christian Pulisic and bring me Trossard. Honestly, get rid of Ziyech. Why is Ziyech still here? Oh, just get rid of the contract, man. He's dead baller. Dead baller.
The Havertz as well. He's shit.
Whoa, that's my boy. That's my boy.
Serene Iqbal here says, just come on now. What did I miss? The whole show, bruv. The whole thing. But I know you're watching back, Serene. Hope you're well, my friend. Hope you're good. This guy sends me funny memes all the time on Instagram, so I got a lot of love for him. He cheers my days up. Can some people please point out the difference between Klopp and Wenger? Champions League. Is that what you mean? Back-to-back league titles. The same thing is going to happen with Klopp that happened to Wenger. Oh, you mean in terms of fading out? Maybe. Oh, do you know what I'd love to happen at Liverpool? I'd love you guys to stick with him for months, and I can't take it anymore, Robbie. I'd love banners to come out. What we actually need as a fan channel community is we need another long manager in, manager out, like 12, 18 month, 2 year. Like, we need it. We need it. We're hungry. We're thirsty for the next
I think
manager
the
out.
Scouse accent as well would be even better. I can't take it anymore, lads. I can't take it anymore.
I don't do it, buts or maybes. Lad. I was listening to Molly McCann and Paddy Pimlick talk the other day, and I counted in a 2-minute clip of them on his podcast. Between the two of them, they said the word lad 14 times. For no reason. Say lad with a D. I'm hungry, lad. Yeah, I'm hungry, lad. I'm hungry, lad. I'm going to go for a drink in a minute, lad. Do you want to go out tomorrow, lad? It's just making me laugh, lad, or whatever it is they say. It makes me die. I love it, by the way. But yeah, we need it because we didn't get it with Thomas Tuchel. We got robbed. We got robbed of Tuchel in, Tuchel out debates, Tuchel in, Tuchel out shows. that we got robbed of that. Like, honestly, Todd Bowley did not think about the fan channel community. We needed that. We needed it. Arteta out shows are gone. Ollie out shows are gone. We're never going to get a Pep out show. That's never going to, even if Pep's doing crap, there's not enough fans to get that going. Like, City have never trended in their life. City could win a Premier League and a manager out would trend over the top. Mr. DT to replace Terry on the terrace. Bruv, he wouldn't pass the criminal checks to get the job here, bruv. Like, it would be done. So he wouldn't pass the DT test. I've heard he's out, by the way. Well, I've seen him. See, I've seen him. I've seen that he's out. I hope he's all right. Like, it's one of them things. Like, it's not great what he did. I'm not a malice person, though, in the sense of, I don't know, I'm one of these people. Like, it's not great what he did. It's wrong. He got his punishment. But I see some people at the weekend, like, I saw someone tweet, like, he should never be allowed in a football stadium again. He should be, like, someone was like, he should get fucked up and beat up every time he goes out. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I ain't got the energy for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, he did his time. He'll never work in this industry again. He's probably lost out on so many things. Yeah, but I can assure you he's not replacing me on the terrace. That's one thing definitely for sure. But there we go. So there's a comment that made me die. Terry Martinelli to Chelsea reports from Sambi.
Sambi?
Lakonga.
Sammy Mockbell said that Chelsea are monitoring Martinelli's situation.
Oh, please, let's not just allow it, man. Let him stay at Arsenal. I don't want him. Get rid.
Well, you don't rate him now.
He's gonna stay at Arsenal. So.
It's not that. It's not. I just think.
Got a couple of years left in his contract, doesn't he? He's going to sign a new one, probably. I would say.
Yeah, that's what he was basically saying. That he's, we're working on his new deal, Saliba and Saka. So yeah, you won't have to worry about that.
Keep him.
There we go. People, we're back tomorrow with more content in the morning. We've got the Straight Facts show, me and Lee Gunn at 3 p.m. tomorrow, and then live match reactions sponsored by Tops for the Champions League live in the studio. So very, very excited about that indeed. Before you leave today, please smash the like buttons. Thank you very, very much to my panel. Very much appreciate you all coming on and having your say tonight, especially us brave ones who had to, go through the pain of our teams losing and all that jazz. Viewers, make sure we get this past 1,000 likes when you're done. We'll see you all again tomorrow. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you in a bit.
I'm going to go 1-1. Haaland won't score. That's my big prediction.
Going 1-1 after that big speech about Rashford ending careers. You're going 1-1.
We keep the unbeaten record. Unbeaten record. One of your centre back, Akanji and Ake will be your starting centre backs after this derby because the rest of them ain't gonna be happy. John Stone's already running scared, feigning injury and all that nonsense, running scared from the derby. So we'll leave him to one side. But if Rashford starts 1-1, no goal for Haaland, and we show the rest of the Premier League how to, stop the Norwegian beast.
You think about Haaland, he could have a quiet game, 3 touches in the whole match, none inside your box, but he could score a hat-trick in the last 4 minutes of a game. That's not even being hyperbolic, that's 110% straight facts. It truthfully is. But Man United are going to beat Manchester City this weekend.
Who the hell is marking him? Oh my god.
God, it's 1-0 Man City. Phil Foden scoring that twat. That young Mancunian twat. Oh my god, this game is done.
It's a massacre. It's a bloody massacre.
Oh my god, why am I watching this?
Phil Foden.
To worse, guys, he's completed his hat-trick. Erling Haaland with the final killer blow to Manchester United to fucking completely do us over, guys.